Hey everybody, welcome back to Pick of the Week. This time I'm featuring the 7th studio album by The National titled Sleep Well Beast on 4AD Records from 2017. Now, if you guys have been following the show, you will know that this was my #1 pick for 2017. This was my favorite album of the year, and you know that I love this album. There's just so many great things about it. It's haunting, it's yearning, it's nostalgic. There's this sense of complication throughout this record. There's so many nice layers going on. And Matt Berninger's vocals are just really the showcase for me of this band. He has this way of just sort of letting the lyrics come out so smoothly. It's like spreading jam on toast. It's just they're kind of silky, they're rich, they're full of subtext. His delivery is exquisite throughout. There's a lot of artistry. It's very poetic. I feel like so many of these songs are incredibly poetic and visual. Oh my gosh, all of these songs, very cinematic. I just get this imagery in my head, and each song it has its own little story about it. And speaking of which, let's break this album down, starting with side A, track 1, Nobody Else Will Be There.
You said we're not so tied together. What did you mean?
Now this is a very calm way to open the record, but I absolutely dig it. My favorite part has to be the drum beat on here. There's just something sort of like in the background about it. The recording quality sounds like being in maybe a larger warehouse, and it's sort of far away from the mic, but it almost sounds like a suitcase, like the top of a suitcase, an old vintage style suitcase being hit, or like almost like a tire bouncing. It's got a very interesting quality about it. Check it out.
Goodbyes always take us half an hour. Can we just go home?
Up next we have Day I Die, and this one definitely kicks it up a notch. Great track placement. I love the guitar work on here as well as the drums. The melody during the chorus is just killer. This is a kind of song that I could just lose myself into. You know what I mean? I just close my eyes and listen to it, and it just puts me in a great mood.
The day I die, the day I die, where will we be? The day I die, the day I die, where will we be?
Track 3 is Walk It Back, and I really like the use of electronic sounds at the very beginning. And this song in particular, I feel like Matt really is channeling his Leonard Cohen on here. He kind of gets down in his lower register, and it sort of reminds me of what Leonard Cohen was doing in the 80s.
I'm always thinking about useless things. I'm always checking out. I'm always mothering myself to bits. I'm always checking out.
What's interesting is that about halfway or maybe 2/3 into the song, some voiceover comes in, and I'm not sure exactly what it's from. This particular song has a credit to a article, and I think maybe that's what the voiceover is from, but they do some like pitch shifting to it. It makes it almost sound like something from Calm Trues, but it's very effective. It's like an old VHS tape being played back, and it's been played so many times that it's really losing its fidelity and resolution, and it just kind of it marks this transition, because the beginning of the song and through most of it is one way, but then this voiceover comes in and the song sort of transforms a bit. It's almost like two different songs put together, and it's sort of sealed up with this voiceover. Really cool stuff.
That's not the way the world really works anymore. an empire now. And when we act, we create our own reality. And while you are studying that reality, judiciously we'll act again, creating other reality which you can study too.
Now, side B opens up with a great song titled "The System Only Dreams in Total Darkness," which I can kind of relate to. I like my dark time for when I sleep, I'll tell you that much.
We said we'd never let anyone in. We said we'd only die of lonely secrets. The system only dreams in total darkness.
This is my favorite song off of here. It's just so catchy, so great. It's the band just really giving their all, and it makes sense that this was the first single off the album. It really showcases what they have to offer on this record. It's a great introduction. I love how it kind of builds into the repeated chorus where for most of the song, he's sort of in this one sort of note range, but then into the chorus he goes up in pitch, and it creates this sort of nice little tension.
I cannot explain it. Any other way.
And the guitar work on here is also excellent. Just a solid song throughout. Track 2, we have Born to Beg, and this one sort of brings it back down a little bit. It sort of slows things down. It's very piano heavy, but if you listen closely, there's this little sequenced number, almost like a pre-programmed thing on a keyboard or something, and it's just kind of tucked away there in the background, but you can kind of hear it during the quiet passages, and I love the sound of that, the inclusion of that. It's both melodic, but it's also rhythmic.
I was born to beg for you.
And the piano itself throughout here, overall it's solemn. I mean, this whole song is very solemn, but there's a few notes and the way they're played on the piano give this song just that little bit of needed hope in it. It's not all doom and gloom on this song. So I dig that, but the end on here is just beautiful. Track 3 is Turtleneck, and this definitely brings it back up, wakes you up. This is the most aggressive they get on this record, and I enjoy that about it. I really do. See what you guys think.
Before they leave their cell phones in the bathrooms of the rich, and when they try.
Side C opens with Empire Line, and the drums and bass on here really do this great job of building intensity into this song until it finally gives way to the chorus where the piano sort of lays down these very light, delicate string of notes, almost an arpeggio, but it's more like chords. I really dig it.
From my childhood to you, can't you find a way?
And the strings on here, they kind of swell and recede, and it gives this song sort of these waves of melancholy. They just sort of overcome and then recede, and it's just a beautiful track overall, exquisitely produced. I just can't get over how simple it sounds on first pass, but then it just rewards you with repeated listens. I mean, that can be said about every song off of here, but for some reason this one especially, I get that sense. Track 2 is I'll Still Destroy You, and I was kind of surprised by the electronic instruments on here. I wouldn't say that this is electro or synth pop, but it lends this almost like dance track vibe about it. Not so much so that it screams like Ace of Base or anything like that, but it was surprising from a band like The National, and I love its inclusion. They do it so well.
This one's like your sister's best friends in a bath, calling you to join them. Can't avoid them.
I'm not exactly sure if it's like a drum machine or what, but it really works well on here. The vocals are also great on here, and I love how towards the bridge, or I think it is the bridge, he starts to kind of sing talk. Like, it's so laissez-faire, his attitude with the vocals, that it might as well be just like beat poetry. It's really, really well done. I dig it.
I have no possessions, no point of view or vision. I'm just trying to stay in touch with.
Last song on side C is Guilty Party, and I love how the previous track sort of ends in this noise, almost controlled chaos, and this track starts off so cleanly. It's like a palate cleanser. It's overall, it's a great track placement. To me, I interpreting it as a breakup, sort of saying goodbye to someone you were in love with, and just sort of saying, you know what, it wasn't anyone's fault. If anything, it was me. And there's just something so relatable about that, and honest and raw. I really dig it. I really understand what he's going through, and the music itself, it really lends itself. It creates a cinematic experience. Like, I see it happening, and the music just reinforces that. It is totally visual, very beautiful song. It's aching, it's sadness, it's complicated, it's simple, it's like guttural. Like, you feel it here and here. And man, as I just this is why I like this band so much, and why this was my #1 pick for 2017.
I say your name, I say I'm sorry, I know it's not working, I'm no holiday.
So opening up the last side, we have CARIN at the Liquor Store, and I am a sucker for any songs in waltz time. That's 3/4, and this one is no exception. I love the sound of that. It feels like a sea shanty, a sort of folk song, like a story.
It wasn't so bad, I wasn't that sick, got taken by love, I wasn't that quick, a foregone conclusion.
On here, he talks about as if he found the dead body of John Cheever, who was an American writer, died in 1982. I don't really understand what that phrase means. I mean, it must obviously mean something to Matt, but for me, I don't quite get the connection. It's a very interesting, if not random, thing to sing about. But regardless, I still really enjoy this song. Check it out.
CARIN at the liquor store, I can't wait to see you. I'm walking around like I was the one who found dead John Cheever in the house of love.
Track 2 is Dark Side of the Gym, and I'll be honest, I don't understand the title of it. I really don't, because he doesn't really sing about doing maxing out his deadlift or doing a bunch of cleans or anything like that. He does sing about seeing someone for the first time as they leave. Based on that, I guess he's maybe on the treadmill and seeing someone he'd like to go talk to, but they're leaving. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of funny. It's a funny title for a song, and maybe I'm looking at it too literally, and it means something much more figuratively.
The first time I saw you, you were walking out. I wanted to ask if you could stay.
But what I like about this song is that it feels like a modern doo-wop song with these country music sensibilities sprinkled throughout. And I just love the sound of that, those two ideas colliding together, and it works. It really works on this song. And I'm sure that has to do with the chord progression on here. There's a very love ballad chord progression that I know of on guitar, and I think that's what they're playing on here, so that probably makes me think of 50s love ballads. But I love the combination of those two ideas. Rounding out side D, we have the title track, Sleep Well Beast, and I really dig these little electronic beeps at the very top of the song. And I really dig the almost noise-like guitar solos throughout this, as well as the strings. The strings on here aren't in your face, over the top, but they just lend this sort of silky smoothness throughout the record. And lyrically, oh my gosh, I feel like I just heard someone's whole relationship from start to finish and just hearing it deteriorate over the course of the song. Now, I don't know exactly if he's singing about someone else or if he's singing about himself, like sort of the beast within. I kind of think that's what it's more about, but it's totally open to interpretation, and that's what I love about the lyrics throughout all of this album, but especially on this one. It really is sort of what you want to make of it, and this just reinforces my idea that Matt is definitely a beat poet, like a singer poet.
But everything was different. Your voice was low, you blended in. I could barely hear you speak.
All right, guys, let's move on to the packaging. On the cover here, you get this very interesting shot. I'm not sure if this is actually the window to this barn. I have to assume this is where they recorded the album, but this almost feels like a photoshopped element. But either way, love this shot. From the distance, though, I didn't notice these little square and triangle treatments. I really like that. It sort of adds this digital artifactness to the cover, which really lends itself to the music. Opening up, love this shot. It's got like a newsprint blow up kind of imagery here. Very, not pixelated, but there's a term for the dotting here, dot shading. I forget what that's called. I'm sure you guys will tell me in the comments. On the back here, just a very interesting sparse layout. Really dig the typefaces here. What's interesting on the spine here, it's not perfectly centered. It's a little bigger than it should be, and it just sort of runs up and over onto the edge of the front cover there. Now, both records come in these very striking blue sleeves that are stamped with the national logo here, but it's also got these cutouts too, which I find so interesting. They definitely harken back to the elements on here. The one thing I gotta say though is that these cut in a little too much into where the actual music is, so I would be hesitant on using these in the long term. I don't know how much protection you're really gonna get. I really like the white vinyl. I think it's very striking. It works well with the overall presentation. I like these labels, the abbreviation of national right there. There's side B. Here we have side C and side D. And it also comes with this poster lyric sheet. I'll show you guys the poster first. Get more imagery right there. I like how Sleep Well Beast is sort of cut off just like on the spine there. And here is the lyrics side. Get another image of the band, lyrics and credits and thank yous. And lastly, it does come with a digital download code. All right, guys, that has been The National with Sleep Well Beast, my favorite album of 2017, but I want to know what you guys have to say. Be sure to leave me a comment down below. Until then, thank you so much for watching. I am your Vinyl Geek, and I'll catch you on the flip side.